Hey, what's going on, guys? So I want to continue on with this conversation talking about AI bots in Battlefield 2042. I know I made a video talking about it several days ago, getting in the idea of something that I really do enjoy, this concept of adding AI bots into a PvP environment. I love Titanfall 2, the way they were able to do it, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. I enjoyed the way they were able to do that in that game, and I'm anticipating exactly how Battlefield's going to be handling it in this game when it comes to wanting to fill slots in servers where servers are not able to meet capacity, whether it's 64 players or the 128 players that they're wanting to do with Conquest and other game modes. I see their idea of being able to fill those slots to make the game still playable no matter if a server is full or not, and I enjoy that idea of being able to keep a game alive. However, after I made that video, some people had a lot of questions on, is this going to be every single game mode? Is there ways to avoid it? And other questions like that, and I want to kind of answer them, talk about it, even actually talking about this concept of crossplay not being anything that we've actually heard any news about. I mean, crossplay nowadays is a really big thing when it comes to big AAA games. Warzone, Modern Warfare, Cold War, and so many others out there have crossplay enabled to where you can play on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And I want to know, when it comes to Battlefield 2042, are we going to have crossplay? Is it where I can buy this game on Xbox and I can play with my friends on PC, or I can play on, play against, friends that are on PlayStation, 5 and whatnot? I want to know. I want to know those answers. And that's one thing that has not been answered whatsoever. And I don't know why we have not gotten an answer. I mean, again, like I said, crossplay again is like just the norm, or close to the norm when it comes to these AAA games. But this is actually one thing that they plan on answering later on down the line. I don't know if this is going to be anything that's going to be announced at EA Play Live. We've had that cinematic trailer, we've had the gameplay trailer, but even with those two trailers and getting a little bit more of the info of what this game has to offer when it comes to game modes, when it comes to player capacity, when it comes to this AI bot stuff. But the fact that we don't have any news about crossplay has me concerned. However, I will say this, even though we don't have any more info about crossplay, I think that's the reason why they're wanting to implement AI bots in this, because it's going to help not only keep the game alive, which I've stated in my previous video, but it's also going to help people find lobbies and be able to interact with lobbies a lot easier than what it's been in the past, when you are a player trying to look for a close to full lobby to where you have more things to interact with. But if AI is involved, you don't have to look for those big lobbies. You can look for lobbies that have maybe 20 out of 64 players, but the bots are going to be filling in the rest of those slots. It doesn't hunker people down to only finding high populated servers. You can find any server that you want to. Maybe there's one server that has a better rotation of maps than another. You can go towards those servers knowing that AI is going to be filling in those slots. But again, like I said, some people don't want to go down that route. So let's get into some of the info, not only from Battlefield Bulletin and what they've been tweeting out, but also too, there is a Verge article that came out talking again about how EA is confirming, yes, Battlefield 2042 is going to have bots, and this is how it's going to be working out. So let's get into it. So first off, the tweet that I was talking about when it comes to crossplay, again, this is something that Bulletin put out, that saying, yes, they will be providing more info of things going on with crossplay when it comes to Battlefield 2042. Again, it's something that we don't know exactly how it's going to be working yet. Hopefully it gets put out in EA Play Live, but again, it's something that we're going to be waiting on, and hopefully we get a good answer on exactly if it's going to be having crossplay or not. So anyway, even with that tweet, he continued on with saying Berlin, who is a developer at that, also confirmed that playing against AI soldiers will let you progress and unlock weapons in-game regardless of whether you're solo, co-op, or multiplayer. Playing against AI is not a separate game mode in Battlefield 2042, but a way of playing our multiplayer experience. Now again, this is a thing that has been stated previously, is that there is not going to be a huge hindrance on if you're playing against AI or you're playing against regular players. It's not going to weigh you down so much, depending on what play style you want to go to. Do you want to play against AI? You want to play real players? They're not going to weigh that down when it comes to experiencing and weapon unlocks and stuff like that. I love that they are not going to be weighing that down. I know when it comes to like other games like the Call of Duty series, where you're playing Spec Ops or Zombies, to level up your weapons, you're hindered quite a bit when it comes to XP gaining for unlocking gadgets in attachments and stuff like that. For this, at least from what it's stating, even if you're shooting at AI soldiers, it's not going to hinder you while like those other games when it comes to unlocking XP and stuff like that, unlocking gadgets. So I enjoy that. I like that because it gives people a little bit more play around with what they want to do. They want to play by themselves, or they want to play against AI, they want to play with their friends and do a co-op experience against AI, or they want to do kind of the old school way of playing against other players. So it's just going kind of an interesting thing of seeing that, knowing that XP is not going to be drugged down whatsoever if you're fighting against AI soldiers. So again, another thing with this from Bulletin as well, EA DICE confirmed that The Verge, which is an article we will get into here in a bit, there's currently no plan to let Battlefield 2042 players turn AI soldiers off in Conquest and Breakthrough. There can only be up to 64 bots in 128 player games, depending on the region, platform, number of human players available. So up to 64 AI players in these games in Conquest. So, and also too, these are the only two game modes that are going to have AI players. So there's going to be a lot of other game modes in Battlefield 2042 that are not going to have AI controlled players in those game modes. So as somebody that's out there that is not wanting to play against AI players, they're wanting to just play against real live players, real flesh and blood people, they're able to do that in other game modes if they don't want to have that chance of fighting against AI. But I will say this too, and I want to make this point clear, is that I don't have a huge problem with this because I've seen other games do it. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is again a great example of being able to see how implementing AI bots in a game not only makes it feel more populated, makes it feel more alive, but also there are so many more things to interact with, so many more things to confront and have a conflict with in the game, that just makes it feel like there's a lot more things to do. It doesn't make it feel like the lobby is dead or the gameplay is dead, because there's more things to interact with the help of the AI bots. So again, it's another thing that I'm really enjoying to see, and I'm really hoping that Battlefield 2042 is able to implement this very well. So hopefully they'll get into it. So now let's get into this article from The Verge, talking about how AI soldiers are going to interact with us as players when it comes to this game. So Battlefield 2042 coming out this fall will offer a series of large scrimmages, so the largest scrimmages yet. An all-out warfare mode can fit up to 128 simultaneously players in a single match on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, or PC. But you won't always have 128 humans in each match. EA will be backfilling those servers with bots to keep the game populated. The company confirms that Verge that currently there's no plans to have you be able to turn that function off. Like I said, it's on Conquest and Breakthrough, the only two game modes where you cannot, they're going to have AI bots in those game modes. There's not going to be a way to turn those off. So again, those are only for these big large scale maps and large scale modes with Conquest and Breakthrough that they're going to be having AI bots. And again, it's up to 128 players, so that is a large amount of players in that. Like, I would be surprised if you have multiple 128 full slots of human players in it. But again, when the game comes out, I think a lot of people are anticipating it, a lot of people will play it. But again, what EA is deciding is that they will backfill those spots that they can't fill with these AI players. So humans will take priority, so you might not ever encounter an AI soldier at peak playtimes. If you truly hate bots, you will be able to play other game modes, but the main event allows up to 64 AI soldiers to help fill a game. Depending on your region, platform, and how many real-life humans are available to jump in, that applies to both Conquest and Breakthrough. So that's another thing too, is that it only adds up to 64 AI bots. So it's not going to be, a team of 70 players on one team, but another team of 128 bots and stuff like that. So that's not the thing. It's up to 64 players, 64 AI soldiers on both sides. So just a little bit of context of what it's going to be looking like. So in defense of bots, assuming the bots are any good, it's sure to be a polarizing decision, but I think it would be a smart one considering the alternatives. It's risky to build a game around 128 simultaneous players, 64 players on PlayStation 4, Xbox One. So that's a breakdown too as well. If you guys don't know, on Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and PC, that will be 128 players, but on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it's only going to be up to 64 players, just in case if you don't know. When you never know how long your multiplayer game might be able to keep users around, I wish EA would have had competent bots in 2014 when it released the original Titanfall, a 6v6 game that died far too soon before all of this was divided into player bases across Xbox and PC and across plays and stuff like that. And this was a huge thing, at least when it comes to Titanfall being a great example of how long, or even Titanfall 2, for how long it actually takes to find lobbies, because you have to have real live people filling those slots of 6v6. But if there was, 2 or 3 slots that could be filled by AI soldiers, then it wouldn't take the matchmaking long at all to actually fill in to actually get into a game. So again, this is the thing. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great way of being able to help fix a game to where matchmaking is the one thing that's the one barrier that's keeping people away from playing the game, especially with so many games out there nowadays that are old games that don't have this capacity or this capability of being able to add in AI bots to help with matchmaking against other players. I think this is going to be a great way of not only being able to fill in slots that are empty on servers to make a game feel more alive, but it's also going to be helping with matchmaking and how long it actually takes for you to find a match. That's again also as well for players that are not wanting to have AI bots or find AI bots. There are game modes out there that are not going to have those bots. So that's a great thing, not only for people that are wanting to play against bots and having these large scale battles, have these large scrimmages, what this article is saying, but also too for players that are wanting to play, 64, 32v32 game modes that are not going to have bots. That's also an option as well. The great thing about this as well too is that the fact that your XP, depending on if you're killing a real life player or you're going after an AI bot, your XP is not going to be hindered to go after gadgets and attachments and stuff like that you unlock through progression. So I like that. I enjoy that. Again, this is one thing that is brand new to the Battlefield series, to a Battlefield game, that I'm anticipating. From what we've saw in Battlefront 2, with the way they implemented that, I thought it was great. If they can bring that same gameplay with Battlefront 2, with maybe a little bit more interaction that Titanfall 2 did with dialogue and stuff like that between AI bots, I think it's going to make the game feel more alive. If bots are talking to one another, bots are talking to the player, there's a little bit more interaction, there's a little bit more dialogue, there's a little bit more atmosphere being built up for Battlefield 2042 with AI being included. I think it's going to be a great experience. I think it's going to be a great game, and it's also going to make this game last so much longer compared to other games out there that don't have this capability of being able to do that, to fill in slots to keep games alive. So just wanted to talk about it, give you guys a little breakdown, a little bit more info about what this game has to offer when it comes to this AI bots. If we get any more new details, especially about crossplay, I'll definitely let you guys know, but at least wanted to talk about it, give you guys my opinion about this experience that we're going to be getting here in the next couple of months. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about AI bots, how it's going to be implemented when it between game modes and capacity of players, and also too when it comes to the XP that you actually gain between real life players and AI bots. Let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys had a great rest of the day. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you guys all next time.